Hello, good evening, and what a lovely sunny day it's been. We've been out in the garden today. We've had a first barbecue of the season. Just tilting that slightly on there on the camera to get you level so you're not cross-eyed. Yeah, it's been a really nice day, very productive day, and not long being back in the house. So yes, I've had a project on my mind that I did with a couple of ladies on Friday. So just a different little transition from that. So let me get you down onto the table. That one, and that one, and let's get you down. Okie doke. So I'm going to be using the mixed florals again. Now these are the beautiful tulips and the cone flowers. I know I've done this one recently, but I'm not sure whether this was on a live or not. I think it probably was, and I've coloured it in with the glitter. I might have just done this in a class, I can't remember. So this is one of the ones I've done with this image. But tonight we're going to be playing with coneflower. My ladies did this one on Friday, and I taught them how to use the tissue paper technique, the faux silk. So I thought I'd do this one again because it's so nice and it's a little bit different. So I've got a little image I'm just going to be loading up here for you. So you can see the coneflowers. I was just curious as to how add that one, done. Hopefully that's going to come up in the feed now, so I can pop that one across to you. Let me pop that one up there. So these are the cone flowers. Now you'll remember that image I've just shown you on the stamp set, and this is what we're going to reproduce. Now they are, although typically I know them as yellow with brown middles. Hi Angela, nice to see you. I'm typically with yellows and brown middles. They actually, if you look up cone flower, not cornflower, but cone flower, if you look those up on the internet, you're going to find that they are in such a wide variety of colours, and it's not just what you think it is. So it is a case of, yeah, anything goes really. Oh, this isn't going to let me transfer back. There we go. And we're back. So this is the flower we're going to be doing. The girls at the weekend did all sorts of colours, so I just went along with whatever wasn't being used. I had a piece here, and I'm just going to start this again because I'm going to stamp my image here, and I'm going to start off with a piece of the tissue paper. You know me, and I keep my tissue paper in one of my scrap boxes here. Hi Lynn, hi Linda, and I always have these spare pieces of tissue paper. I save them from our dies when they come, not dies, the plates, the clear cutting plates, these. Okay, when we get these, there's two together, sandwiched together, and they always have a sheet of tissue paper between them. And this narrow one here is the size of the mini plates. So do make sure you hang on to them because, and also not just from those. This in here, I've got tissue paper from gifts or from clothes, toiletries, anything like that. There's a big sheet there I've just folded up. These pristine ones are from the dies, the cutting plates. So do keep them in there in a container so you can keep them fairly flat. They don't have to be crease free like this is crease free. It can have creases in it. It's not a problem. So I'm going to start by stamping this one up with my memento. Now I've got a lovely pristine piece of grid paper here that I had yesterday for those who are with us on the Global Inspiration Stamp team, doing our presentations to customers and team members that like to join the group. So we were doing the in colours yesterday. So that was nice. We do them every 2 months. So if you're a customer of mine or team member, you can join the group for free. And then you can go back and look over all the previous presentations that we've had. We don't archive this group, or we're trying not to, unless Facebook changes the rules and changes the storage size. We're trying not to. So that's a really good record that you can become a customer or team member, and you can jot in and see all the previous presentations. So that's a lovely clear image, and it's just on that tissue paper there. I want that to just rest a little bit, and this is the reason I say to put it on tissue paper, because you will stamp through. It's very thin and it will come through to the other side. Okay, just got something in me. There. So this is a piece of card. I've cut my basic white card into quarter sheets, just because I know that that's going to be big enough for that image. But we are actually going to be using the everyday archers as well. So these are the everyday archers. You've seen me use these before, I'm sure. I've got a couple of pieces here. I am going to be using the early espresso one as the base layer. Then I'm going to have a white layer. But the only trouble is I've decided that I'd like to have this image cut out. I think it, yeah, let me just get the die and make sure. It should cut out nicely. Can you leave that one out to the side? I think the inner one was this size. Let me just check. I still haven't got these onto magnets. All the stuff from the new catalogue, nothing has made it to magnetic sheets yet. So that is a job for an upcoming evening. So that's going to go on there. I'm going to leave this one out, but I really want to cut this when we've finished it. It doesn't matter about the bottom of the stem, but I'm going to have that image as the finished one. So I'll leave those there. What else can I tell you? The Mixed Florals has got some lovely dies in here as well. All of these images cut out, even these three little ladybirds. So if you want to really get really teeny weeny, you have got those in there. And we have this foliage is an extra. So there's 2 pages of dies. This one fits on here. And all of those images you see here are the images on the front. You actually get more ladybirds. You actually, I think you get, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you get 2 of each. So you can multiple cut. Okay, so that's that set. These are both, actually, they are online exclusives. So Mixed Floral isn't in the catalogue, and the Everyday Archers has been a little while. I think this one's been a little while as well. So they are both on the online exclusives. Doesn't mean that you only have to go online and order them. You can actually order through your demonstrator as well. It's just that they're not featured in a publication anywhere. Okay, so I'm going to be using, this is Old Olive, and I've chosen to use that as the colours today with the espresso there. And I'm going to be colouring this one in now. It's had a little while to rest. I'm going to bring that piece of paper back, turn it over so I'm not distracted by the lines on the other side. And we're just going to have a quick whistle stop follow up to the colouring on here and the mediums that I'm using. These are our watercolour pencils. Okay, so I'm going to leave those beside me like so. These are the watercolour pencils. All I've done is cut up the boxes that they were in. Now we have upgraded those because some of the colours might have disappeared and retired. There's 2 sets on there, but I do know that Old Olive is one of them. The yellow is one. My poor little yellow that's been vastly shrunk. This is Old Olive, and I might have a little piece of that brownie colour coming in for the cone. We've got, that's actually, it looks brown on here, it's crushed curry. Now I have got both colours of card out because I'm not really sure how I want to play this. There's only the one yellow with crushed, or 2 yellows with the crushed curry, but I might try and find the espresso if there's one in there. Cajun Craze, early espresso. I'll get that one out as well. So I'm going to take those out of the way so I've got a clear working space. Now, just to recap, you don't need to sharpen these within an inch of a millimetre of their lives because you need to really have a rounded tip. I'm going to just get your screen in a bit closer so you can see me colouring in more detail. There we go. So I'm just going to come in here with this soft rounded nib. Don't have to have a point on it. We're just going to roughly colour these in. It doesn't matter if you've got white areas. I shall apologise now if my head gets in the way. It's hard not to do things directly above them. So we're just gently colouring, gently as in we don't want to tear the tissue paper. Okay, but if you hold it nice and tight, you're fine. It doesn't have to be completely coloured in because you're going to blend this in a second. This really, I don't think works for anything with a water brush. And I probably wouldn't do this with blends. Maybe Stampin' Blends, you know, the alcohol-based ones. I wouldn't say it won't work, but I think I might need to just try it on my own sometime and just see what I think of it and feed back to you on another live. If it works, we could do it. The reason being, they're very, very intense colours, and anything that's wet is going to be more susceptible to the paper tearing. Certainly the water brush would not work, because you will put water on here and it will just pill and it will get so soft you can stick your brush through it. So we don't really want to be doing that. So that's the old olive. This is going to be, the majority of this is going to be in daffodil, but I am going to go over with some crushed curry. So again, I've got a nice rounded point on here, so I know I'm not going to tear that paper, hopefully. So this one here and that one there, you're just roughly colouring all over those sections, but you will blend this out. You'll pick it up and blend with it. Okay, so I want to put some crushed curry in there. So that's this one. It looks brown, but just forgive me, it is gonna just give a little bit extra deeper colouring. I'll try and keep an eye on the comments on here as well. So hello to everybody joining. Okay, now while I've got this one, I am going to just put some on here, because I think I want this to be a browny yellow on the top. Okay, so just blending some of that in, and it doesn't matter if it literally is just a stroke in there like I've just done. We're going to make this really beautiful. Okay, so that's that one, done that one, and we'll put some more of this over the top. So kind of mixing those two colours together, so it's not just the espresso. Okay, it just gets it a little bit stronger. Okay, and then we're going to do these other little flowers in some sort of contrast colour, something that's going to blend with them. What do I want to do on those? I don't really want to go orange, do I? Kind of like, I'm undecided. We did them as forget-me-nots the other day, so I'm wondering if I do some little blue ones on here. Okay, this is Pacific, no it's not Night of Navy, but any bluish colour for little forget-me-nots. You can see I'm not being very precise with this at all. It's very forgiving. Okay, and this is just roughly colouring in. Okay, there we are all done. Can you see that one on there? Should be nice and clear for you. So now I take my blender pen. So these are glycerin based. So they aren't, you don't need to have one for each colour. They're dual ended, and I think there is slightly, there's not really much difference in the nibs, I don't think. That one looked to me to be thinner. That looks to be fatter, but I think it's just that's got ink all the way down the nib. So basically it's a double-ended, and I always try and start with the lightest colour. So it is going to be my yellow on this occasion. So I am trying to colour within the lines. I have used my Memento. The Stays On is good to use for anything that is going to bleed, so the water-based. But having said that, if you stay within your lines, it's easier to with a blender pen rather than a brush that might go over the edges. And if you stay within your lines, I don't think that there's, it upsets it at all. So I'm quite happy to do it this way. So just colouring within those lines, and you're actually bleeding that colour out. So it's damp, but it's not saturated with water, if that makes sense for you, anyone who hasn't seen them before. But it's a lovely effect. It works on cardstock as well. You don't have to just be on doing delicate things like this, but this is one I definitely use them for. Okay, if you want to wipe them, if you tend to use them on absorbent paper, you can just wipe them off on there until you get a clean and go to another colour. Or I like to think that I try and think that will, if you put paper against liquid, it's going to be drawing the liquid out of here, so it might dry them up quicker. So I just wipe it on the back of my hand. Okay, and then I'm going to come in here with the blue, make the little forget-me-nots, just colour that in, and all it's doing is taking those lines out and blending it and making it stronger. I think if I hold that up to you, you'll probably be able to see with these blue ones. So this is how they started off, just coloured in, just very, very roughly, and there's bits of white on here. Okay, and when you colour them in with the blend pen, it actually brings those all together and they're solid images. You're pushing that ink around. Okay, just do those extra few. And while I was talking to you earlier, you probably didn't notice these thin lines of black for some of the narrower stems. I actually went over those with the green, the old olive as well. Okay, so just wipe that on the back of my hand. And then I've coloured in the leaves and the wide stems, but then these little ones up here, I just went over with the pencil. Now if I just stroke through those lines, you will actually see that they do just bring that little bit of green through, just on the thin ones. Okay, like so. Bring that up again, so you can see they are a little bit wider than just a stamped black line. Now they've actually got a little bit of green colour to them. Okay, so just wipe that off. I think we're there. Now that was really, really rapid time, wasn't it? Just put those back in the box. So we're going to leave this to dry for a little while. If you wanted to, I do have the heat gun actually. Just get those out of the way. I did heat embossing at the weekends for the global group. So I'm just going to hold this on the piece of paper here. And if you want to just speed it up, I've got the heat gun on speed it up a bit. And you can just hurry that along. It's not actually wet, as in like the water brushes are. It's just damp. So before we screw it up in a ball and get the tissue paper, the faux silk effect, we kind of want to just make sure that that's going to be dry. So we will set that aside just for a moment and get that out of the way. And I'm going to start on the base card. So if we're going to have this one and a white layer and then have our image on here, okay, we're going to texturize the back a layer. So I need another quarter sheet. I'm going to use the crushed curry, I think, as the base card. Okay, so I'm going to put those aside. So if I cut a base card, so I'll take half a sheet of the crushed curry. You might change your mind when we build it all together and see what it looks like. At least we'll have one to start with. So I wanted to score that, didn't I? Never mind. Yes. I'm going to do a little bit of a fold with it, so I will score that down a little. So 10.5, we're going to score. Then we're going to cut this way. Okay, so the 14.3 and the 10.5 for our A4. So that's that piece. Fold into the ridge, meet up those 2 points on the edge. Take the bone folder and just crease along there, both sides. And then we're going to have a white layer just under that, because we're going to have the espresso to break the colours up. So I want that to be just 0.5 centimetre under, so it's going to be 10 by 14.3. Just take off those 0.5 centimetre pieces, pop them in the bin, or scraps. And I really fancy this one being with the brick background, because it feels like a flower is crawling up the wall. So this is exposed brick. So again, just remind you, don't go all the way to the end. You can push it right into that ridge, but you'll get that funny little piece there that doesn't get texture on it. So bring it back a little bit. Okay, bring the machine up. I'm going to take off the shim layer and the 2 clear plates. And we're going to bring in the embossing powder folder straight onto the base, and then the grey embossing plate. It's one of the thick 3D folders. And then that comes out the other side. Abracadabra, and we have that beautiful texture on it. Can you see that brick? Sort of, it's exposed brick, so it's kind of like it's got bits of brick, but it's got other bits of wall and things in between it. Okay, so that's that one done nicely. So that will sit on there, or might sit on there, shall I say. Okay, and then we'll have this layer coming on top of it. Okay, I know that obliterates a lot of it, but we can see that texture coming through. So that's where I'm starting at the moment. So we need to get on with this piece of tissue paper now. So we're going to screw this up. Now we need to have the right side upwards. If in doubt and you're going to trim it down, you could actually, in the right hand, in a corner somewhere, this is going to be cut, remember, with the die. So I'm going to look up here and I'm going to put R. If you put a letter R, you would know if it's back to front. Okay, so I'm going to put right in the right hand corner. Okay, so I know which side it is, but I always have the colour coming inwards, and you're going to screw it up into a little ball. Now you're really not going to like me when I do this. Very delicate, very pretty. Oh, bless you. Thanks, Linda. I've made that into quite a tight little ball there. Now, the reason for that is the fact that the more creases, the tighter the creases, the more like the faux silk it's going to be. So now we're just going to open this out. We've put the creases in and we're now going to flatten it, but not to press those out. Just gently, gently tease. Okay, and just bring that out. If it's a non-symmetrical design, you'll also know from the design that you've got. So if we pull back the stamp set here, this is the stamp set and this is our image. If you notice, if you turn it over, it's a little bit dull. It's a bit muted. Okay, but we can see in the the top right hand corner, we've put R for right. Okay, so that's good. We're going to work on there. And we then need a quarter panel. I got a few earlier. So I want, oh, that wasn't a quarter. That one is. I want to put this on here. We're going to stick it down, but I don't want to have it too big. So there's only a little bit I'm going to take off that edge. Do that with a mini machine, I think. So we're going to put it down anyway. It's just, it doesn't want to be, it must be big enough to take our die, but it doesn't want to be too big so that we fill it with glue. So coming back to this, we're going to take our Tombow. Okay, this is the only time that I tend to use the fat end of our Tombow. Now, some people the other day didn't know that there was such a thing on the end here. It's been used the other day, so it's got a bit gunky. I'll wipe that off. So what we're going to do is cover this piece of card. It's about the same size, might be slightly bigger. So we want to make sure that we cover the whole piece. Is there anybody on here watching, or who it might be on a replay later? If you haven't seen this technique before, then just pop a little comment in there to me. I've been storing this in the jam jar upside down, so of course all the glue is at the bottom now, so I've just got to work it back again. So we're going to cover the whole area. We don't want too much glue, so as you go, don't squeeze all the time, release your grip. Once you've got glue all over, we're going to spread it around. So we want it to go completely, every little morsel we can. We don't want any pockets. So we go once that way, then we turn it and we go once the other way. Okay. We want it to make sure, we're trying to make sure that there's no gaps in there whatsoever. Okay. And there's no little rivers of glue either. We want it to be slightly tacky. Just have a look at that, and I think that's fine. Okay, so now I'm going to put the back on that one there, and then we're going to pick this up and we're going to start in the middle. So you want the middle of the card and the middle of the piece of tissue paper, and we're just going to pop it in there. Left to right is important because it's quite near for the die. So we're going to start by tapping that in the centre, and we're just going to tap outwards, just using fingertips, just coming outwards from that middle point. So we're not actually spreading it out because we'll wipe those creases out. We want to just tap that down. So I have those on here now at the moment. Have you seen this before? If you're my followers, you probably will have done. I have done tissue paper before. I can't remember what stamp I used. So just coming out from those edges, making sure that it's all out there. If you do happen to get any sticky little rivers, perhaps you've not spread it out far enough. I'm going to put that sticky piece of paper away in the bin. So the rest I can do on here, I'm quite happy. Just tap that down. Got a tissue here, so if there is anything seeping out, you can just tap over with a paper towel or tissue. Okay. There we go. Make sure there's nothing on there. If you do happen to have any little sticky bits on here, what you can do is to take your dust buddy. When you do heat embossing, you have the little dust buddy here. Okay, it comes in the embossing toolkit, but it's just a little pouch of powder really. And if I've got a little bit along here, we're going to die cut it, but if that was going to be sticky, then I could just go along that edge, and that would get rid of that tackiness, because it's just like a powder on there. Just pump it down. I don't pounce it down on the sticky bit, and that will be fine. Okay, so there is our piece finished. Now I want to leave that a little bit before I die cut it. So we're going to put this on here, and that will take the whole image there. Look, it's going to be perfect. There we go. So we're going to put that down in a minute, and that's our image we're going to put onto our card. So I'm just wondering, actually, just a thought, because we're good on time, aren't we? Yes, we're good. Just going to take the next one in, just out of interest, whether this one would work well as well. See, it doesn't matter about those last bits of stems. I'm thinking if we had this one on here, that might give us more of a border, so I might actually cut another one. So let's be doing that while we leave that a few minutes. Bring this back up. So much for being prepped ahead. We need the shim, and we need the 2 cutting plates back. We need a piece of that really espresso card, and we're going to cut this one out. That is the one down. So I'm just going to take that on there, chomp a piece of card through there, use that piece, cut that one. So that's there. So this is then going to come onto this card. So it's a little bit smaller. We've got the other one if we need to. Okay, put that back in the pouch. Then this one will sit inside of there like so. Okay, so it just gives it a little hint. And then we're going to place this one on here. So I think we should be okay now. I will just point out the fact that I've never actually cut the tissue paper one like this on live. So I hope that doesn't put a little bit of doom on there. I'm just going to pop this on here. I don't want it to peel the tissue paper, so what I'm doing here is just gluing the die and to the outside. Need another piece of tape the other side. So I'm putting it on the die so it's not going to stick to the tissue paper, because I know it's Scotch tape, it shouldn't peel it off, but it just might because it's very delicate. Wish me luck. Now, I didn't need to worry there, did I? Because if I bring this back on, you're going to see as I lifted that off, it's done it perfectly first time. Thank you so much for being on my side today. The wonders of being live. If it's going to go wrong, it will go wrong while you're on live. So there is our beautiful image. And I've just realised you're still right into the screen, aren't you? Could bring you out a little bit now so you can see more of the table. There we go. So that one's going to sit on here. We'll work out what we're going to do raised or in a sentiment in a sec. So we've got that one on there like so. That just brings that hint of darkness through from the back. I'm tending to want to put this one on raised, but then we'll work out a greeting before we go there. So let's work out our greeting now. What should we do? Now, I have got out my embossing here, and I've got my Dust Buddy. I have my Versamark was here. Because I used them yesterday, I've got Versamark, I've got the white powder, I've got the tray, so I've got everything I need to do a white embossing powder. I think that's going to look really nice. So I'm going to grab a piece of the early espresso, a little scrap that I can use for sentiment, like that, and then emboss on white. It's going to look really nice. So where shall we go from? There's no actual words in the mixed florals stamp set in here. There's no sentiments in here whatsoever, but there is some nice ones in the Everyday Archers where we got the dies from. So I'm thinking, I don't want to stamp on this tissue. We wouldn't ever do that. But the thanks is always nice, and I like the hello. Hello's quite bold. I used thanks the other day. Who's online with me at the moment? Who would like a thanks or a hello? Or we could do one of each and see which we like. I'm just going to turn this over and get those out. So we've got a hello there. And what's the thanks in there? So we could do both of those. We'll take that off the block. There, and do one first. I'm going to do them cross corners, and then I'll come back and do that one afterwards. So I'm going to wipe the Dust Buddy over the piece of card. That's just to get any oils out of your fingers. It's not going to stick to it. The powder will only stick where it's got wet ink. And I don't know if you remember, I would have told you probably before, the embossing powder, this really fine powder here, will stick to anything that is wet. So if you have a snowy scene, I'll try and remember for the Christmas cards, if you have a snowy scene and you just flick some water onto a piece of dark card, so I've flicked some water onto here, and you sprinkle powder on it, it will stick to where it's wet. So the oil in our natural oils in our hands, it will stick to that. It will stick to anything that's wet. So anything where the gluey, sticky ink pad is, or yeah, any undry ink. So it would stick to that. So I'm just tipping that white powder over that Versamark, flick it from the back, and we've got a beautiful greeting there. Okay, so that one's ready to be heated. And then I'm going to turn it round. I won't knock this. I'm going to leave this one here, take that stamp off, put that back in the lid there, and pop the next one on. We've got hello. We'll see, this is going to be quite bold, so it's going to be interesting to see what that one looks like. I think we've already done that, but we'll put a little piece as well. Ink up this. It's because it's solid, we really need to have that good coverage. Okay, come on there. Hold my breath while I stamp that. Okay, lid on. The powder, I never tip the powder onto here until the ink pad is covered. This is an airborne powder. It's very, very thin, very fine and very light, and you will always end up with just dusty powder somewhere on the table. So because these particles will just hover, so we are better to keep that out of the way. If not, it just gets on here, and when you use it for another colour, it will just pick up some of those particles in the pad. It's not brilliant. Okay, so that's all we need out of here. But before I carry on, I'm just going to point out to you, I've got a little bit in that H. It's filling it in a little bit. So I'm going to pull my glasses down and grab my tweezers. I would normally say do a little a paintbrush if it's around the outside edges, but I'm going to use a take your pick tool because it's a pointed end, and I'm just going to knock that out from that middle piece. Okay, flick it on the back, and there we go, it's gone. So it's nice and clean now. Okay, so like I say, these particles, I can feel it's gritty on here. So I'm just going to wipe that over. And then we'll bring the heat gun back and we'll finish this off. So we're not wafting it, we're just heating it until it's the gun gets warmer and it gets hot. It will start turning a nice white and then we'll move along. So it goes from the dull powder to a white shiny effect. Okay, and then we'll turn it around and do the one the other end. There we go, all the way across. So just do a recheck on it and make sure that it's shiny all over and you can't see any powder. And I always leave those just to cool down for a second as well. A pair of scissors. And just cut those in half. All right, while they cool down, it's a little bit like a bit of molten lava really on there. So if I have this on here, just thinking about my sentiment, I could have it as a little banner, or I could just fussy cut them out and have them sitting across the bottom of the stems here, which I kind of like that idea. So I'm going to adhere this one down first while we're waiting. There we go. Down there. So that's onto the base card. There we go. Then these two layers are coming together. I can see some likes on here. We've got a few comments. I think there might be something good on the television tonight, maybe. Some faces missing, but when we were live at the weekend, weren't we? In the global group. Okay. Again, we've got the tissue paper on there. The texture is there. We don't want to flatten it too much. We will see that when it's up close, you will see the texture on there. It might not pick out on the camera very well, but there are lovely creases all over this. There's a lot down the bottom here. If I tilt that camera, hopefully you can see that. Okay, so this is going to sit in the middle here. Okay, and we are going to put some foam pads on the back of that. Raise that up. She says, I'm hoping yesterday. There we go. So I'm just going to pop some of these on. So I like to do quite a few of these. Make sure it's not going to fall apart or sag in the middle. I take the backs off as I go where I can. I get away with one in the middle there. Pick those off. There we go. So we'll pop this one into the centre. I was going to do a fancy fold card on here and then fold it back again, but this I forgot to do that. So the only other thing I was going to do was going to be put this behind the layer. That's not really going to show much of that, is it? Now I think that would only show really if we cut this out, and if we cut this out, fussy cut it out, it wouldn't show enough of the tissue paper, the faux silk technique, to be able to do that. So we've kind of lost that in there. So we use that on another card, so that goes back in the box. But I'm wondering what else we can do to bring that colour through. I think I'm going to put a banner through the middle there. Leave that one there for a sec. Take a strip. That's nice. So we just want to bring that green in there somehow, just to make it feel together. And then that just brings a little tiny piece out either side. So let's just cut that to 10.5. That's the width of our card. Remember we scored earlier at 10.5. And if you're looking on a mat here, you've got grid paper, you'd be able to look on here and go the same distance either side. So we know that that's going to be, you need to be able to see it. So if we wanted to be pedantic, we could actually just take a ruler and measure either side of that line. We've got 7.5 at the top and 7.5 at the bottom. So we are actually right on there. Look, if we go there and there, we're in the right space. Okay, and it's going to go across the whole width. So just put some adhesive on here. Hello all, I am watching. Oh, bless you, thanks Pam. I know you've seen the tissue paper before. It's one of my favourites. It's a really good one. And then I had 2 new ladies doing it on Friday morning, and it's their first time. They were really surprised. They were horrified when I got them to screw it up. And tightly as well, to get all the creases in. So this is now going to go on here. Get my fingers out of the way. That would make sense. So top to bottom, same gap, similar gap, and then to the sides there. I think we're on. There we go. And then it's just a case of where we're going to pop our greeting and which one we're going to use. This is bringing the chocolate through, the espresso through. I think that's going to be too heavy. We are going to fussy cut these. You're enjoying this technique. Have you done this one with me, Linda? I'm not sure. I think you have. I'm going to fussy cut both of these because one will be ready for another project, but I want to just see which is the going to look the neatest. Okay, so I'm just going to rough cut most of this off, just so it's less to handle. Okay, so we're just going to roughly cut around that shape. It's just sometimes it's nice not to use black. Okay, I use black a lot. We have the Memories and More cards I shared, I think it was a couple of weeks ago now. Jackie and I are doing a class with this in Dis at the Golf Club again. We had a very successful afternoon tea, crafternoon tea. So crafting and afternoon tea together. And we're repeating that on the 6th of June. And already got several people booked and paid. We will be cutting that off. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. It's a little bit towards the end of June, end of May. And we'll be cutting off numbers. And we have only got 20 spaces for that one. The reason being, prepping the kits. Jackie's going away. I've got company from America again. This time it's Joy. Joy's coming over. So we will be getting those kits completely finished and ready for everything well ahead of time. So, and also I'm going to bring these on so I remember to show you. But these are the Memories and More cards that we probably ran through before. They are really, really great. They are on the last chance list. Now this bundle isn't. The stamps and the dies are not on last chance. They are on the online exclusives. But the cards are slightly reduced at the moment, and they are on that last chance. So once they're gone, they've gone. Now Jackie and I have made sure that we've got enough supplies in. Mine are now in the house as well, for 20 people. But Jackie and I love them so much. We've bought more than we need. So we will have extras at the end of the event. So what I wanted to say was, if anybody isn't local and you still are interested in having this a class kit, then drop me a line, because I will probably be repeating another day here at the studio, and I will also consider popping it in the post as well as a postal kit. So if you're interested and we have enough supplies after the 20, then we will just drop us a line. If you're Jackie's customer, contact Jackie, and if you're mine, then contact me. Sure, we can come to a deal somehow. So this is the thanks. Now that fits in there quite nicely, doesn't it? Nice and gentle. The hello fits in here. And in fact, that looks bold, and that's quite nice as well. So vote then, please, ladies. I think there's not many of you on here tonight. But we've got hello, or we have thanks. Okay, so see which you think you prefer. Decisions. I think because there's a lot of white space up there, I'm nearly inclined to go with the hello one. I tend to do a lot of thank yous, don't I? If I don't hear back, I'm going to do that one. Okay, that's going to be raised up as well. So I'm going to be popping some Pam saying thanks. Okay, I'll go with thanks then. There we go. So what I did the other day, I use up the pieces on the sides of the dimensionals, and I snip these. These are the offcuts, the funny shapes, they're hexagonals, but we have these pieces on here as well. So I'm just going to use those to come up the T and take that off. Then another piece, in fact 2 will be enough, just in there. Take that off as well, and we'll put that in the corner down here. I really like that. So confusing now having these on the table. So we'll put up some gems on here. Actually, we had the in colour gems out, and I pinged them off over the other side of the desk. Just a sec. There we go. So these ones here we were using at the weekend. These are the in colour flat pearls, and they are gorgeous, and they've got that metallic sheen to them. I don't know why, but how they've done them, but it's just nice. So I'll use some of those yellow ones. It's not quite the same shade, but it really won't matter. And I do like my signature of doing a trio. So on a large one, okay, a medium one. I'm using the take your pick tool because it's really easy just to slide these off, and then the little one. The take your pick tool is just this little piece of putty on the end, and when you run out, it lasts for ages, just keeps reshaping it. It's just to pick things up with, and then you can just turn the handle and a little tiny bit more will come out, but just do it very, very small increments, otherwise it will come out quite fast. Okay, and it's a waste because you don't need it. So there we go. I hope you like that. A little bit different, and I haven't put liner in there, but you know, we put another layer in there and we can decorate that if we fancy. I'd probably emboss a little bit of this and put a little piece across, and a little tiny narrow piece of the green card on there. Just wanted to go back to these because these are random pieces that I haven't used yet. We have the class participants on the 6th of June will be getting half a pack of these, so they get both of these sticker sheets, and they are board. They are not paper. They're on adhesive on the back. You just peel them off. A bit like this one up here. It's quite substantial. Okay, so you get 2 of those, and then as an assortment of the larger cards, which are full size for card size, and also some of the little ones. So they are all double-sided. So some will work in both ways. So like this one here, it's one layer. You've got it's 2. You've got the lovely bright colours on this side, and you've got the black and white on the other. This reminds me very much of a paper that we used to have. Yeah, they're just beautiful designs. Even this one, you see, it's got a banner on there for journaling, or you can stamp a sentiment in there and put some detail on here, and they work on note cards as well as the full-size cards. So that one I've die cut the middle out of to use the middle piece. I'm not using that side, I'm using this piece. I've die cut the image and I'm going to raise that up. So that is partly started, but just nice pieces on here, really. Very nice, and like I say, double-sided. So we're using a mixture of those and these, and then a whole pack of the 20 note cards and envelopes. So if you're interested in that, I know Pam's already booked. I think Linda might be working. But anyway, if anybody wants to get in touch, then please do. That's my card finish for this evening. Okay, so take care, have fun this week. If you fancy having a go at that, then please post your photo below. If you're one of my customers and haven't seen the Global Inspiration Stamp Team yet, presentations from Friday night and Saturday night, then please take a look over there, and you can pop back, watch them on replay. As always, there'll be an album and we upload the photos in there, so you can click on the link and go straight to it. Okay, so I think that's all for now. I will be placing another order in the next few days if anybody's got anything they wish to add. You're working, but you'd love a kit, please. Absolutely, Linda. But you'll probably find a day that you can make it over here on your non-shift days, and we will work around you, and we'll definitely count you in somewhere. Okay, so I will make a note of that for you, and I'll put you on the list. Okay, so take care. Wednesday. Now, Wednesday is our saxophone quartet rehearsal. You know, once a month I have a rehearsal. We didn't have one last month. So we have got a Wednesday night rehearsal. So I won't be live at 9 o'clock, but I'll be back again next Sunday. Okay, so take care. If you've got any requests, as always, something you want to see done, a technique done, just let me know, and then if I can build it in somewhere, then I'll make a list and you will go on it. Okay, so that's really good. So get rid of that message. Okay, see you Thursday. Yes, Linda, I will see you on Thursday, our third Thursday of the month, and we just have a bit of an open studio, and we have people coming in for the day, so it's a guaranteed day that we've just got crafting going on. Okay, so take care, and I will see you all soon.